Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for My Hero Academia, Chapter 278. So, yeah, to put it simply, this chapter is one of those where it shows just how everything is going to hell in a handbasket, with Gigantomachia pretty much just wrecking everyone in his attempt to just basically find his master, aka Shigaraki. And through that, we also see that the Liberation Army, and through Gigantomachia, like, rushing to Shigaraki and all that, we see that the Liberation Army is also gaining their second wind as well. And that's honestly the main takeaway from this chapter for me, because, as you know, the biggest problem with the past couple of chapters is that by strictly focusing on Shigaraki and and Izuku and Bakugo and Aizawa, I felt it didn't properly show how Shigaraki's whole rebirth, so to speak, was affecting everything and everyone around him. So by switching back to all the other characters, we get a greater sense that everything which could potentially go wrong from Shigaraki's rebirth as the new All for One has gone wrong, as it shows that from his rebirth now everyone is prepared, ready, willing, and able in order to rally around him now, and through that, the heroes are also generally being pushed to their last legs. Like this, like honestly, we're reaching a point where the heroes are running out of ground to stand on, and they need something. And they need something better, and they need a strategy in order to come back from this. Um, and but yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I pretty much get how, and don't get me wrong, I do kind of like how the previous chapters that have focused on just strictly Shigaraki have actually served in order to develop like Izuku, Bakugo, and all of them, and I get it from that perspective that they definitely need the conflict between Shigaraki and Izuku and Bakugo in order to develop all three of them as characters now. But at the same time, it's like I said, I still needed to see this. I still needed to see how Shigaraki's rebirth, what was affecting everyone and everything around him. And in some ways, that's pretty much that's exactly what I got in this chapter. Is it showed me how Shigaraki's like rebirth as the new All for One is affecting everyone and everything around him, and it's showing in this chapter, but just how basically Re-Destro, the Liberation Front, and just all the villains are starting to like, okay, Shigaraki's awake. Well, it's time to rally around him and finish off the heroes for good. And yeah, it's also, I guess, in some ways just showing with Shigaraki's rebirth how much organized the villains are becoming with that second wind now. Of course, we do have to talk about Momo's moment of finally taking command, and this is something that's been subtly and sometimes not so subtly been built up over the past couple arcs in the manga, like her doubting herself and growing out of that to become not only a leader but also just a hero who everyone can basically turn to and depend on, and well, to be there for you in a tight spot. So, well, to see this moment of her stepping up fully into that leadership role is all the more rewarding because it's the culmination of that development and her character arc more or less coming full circle by seeing her make the quick and precise decisions necessary in order to counter like Gigantomachia's advance. Because if you remember, pretty much in the beginning of the series, from the sports festival arc, it was pretty much shown that her biggest weakness is Momo's biggest weakness is the fact that she was very indecisive and that she couldn't and she was always doubting herself and couldn't make quick and precise decisions on the spot. But throughout the series, that little aspect has been that aspect of herself has been slowly developing more and more, and it's all culminated in this one moment where she's taking command of her like squadron, her friends and whatnot, and her, let's see, in order to stop Gigantomachia. So yeah, it's a very nice like way in order to cap off her development in some ways. Although like she's still gonna get development beyond this point, but it's a nice way in order to cap off her, in order to see her coming into her own as a leader now. And I'm really curious to see where Momo's character as a leader is going to go from here. Now with which on the note of stopping Gigantomachia though, maybe it's a detail I missed somewhere, but can someone explain to me how sedating Gigantomachia is breaking the law? Because it's just because in some ways, like pretty much drugging him in that way, like pretty much sedating him with drugs in some ways is just another means of subduing him and capturing him. So like I fail to see the illegality of it, unless it's tied to something about the use of drugs on villains or something like that. But yeah, Midnight. Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those things where Midnight makes a point in this chapter to mention how they're breaking the law by doing this, and it just really threw me off. I think like I said, I think I remember something about heroes using drugs in order to stop villains being illegal or something, but it's like, yeah, I don't know, it just really threw me off. So maybe someone can fill in the blanks for me, but yeah, that was one of those things that was like, really, that's actually a thing, like really, like I mean, I guess it is, but yeah, if it is, then I guess in some ways you could say it shows just how limited this whole society is. Like really, if you're gonna deal with a giant like Gigantomachia, a giant ass villain like Gigantomachia, then yeah, really one of the only ways you can do it is sedate him. Like seriously, this isn't difficult to understand. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing I didn't really even think about. But if that's a thing in My Hero Academia universe, then yeah, the whole legality of things is just even more screwed up than I thought it was. Now, I've been talking now with this whole arc in general. I've been talking a lot about characters dying and which character is probably going to die throughout this arc. And while I don't want to necessarily dive too heavy back into that subject, as I feel anything can happen at this point, I also have to admit that between Midnight's current physical state and her radio communication with Momo, and her radio communication with Momo did kind of have that sort of final orders feel to it. And then of course there's that mini flashback. But yeah, overall it's one of those things where I hope I'm wrong, because just when I kind of got over the idea of Aizawa being killed, Horikoshi seems to like pull me back in with Midnight, and I just don't really know what to think right now, and if who the hell is gonna die, because like I said, everything's gone to shit with this whole thing. And like, but then again, maybe that's how we're supposed to feel, as in some ways it is kind of a reality of war, that there is kind of an unpredictability of death, and that anyone can die in battle. So I do have to admit, honestly, I do have to admit, for as sacrilegious as it's going to be for me to say this, there's an aspect to this paranormal liberation war arc that I feel Horikoshi has got a better grasp on. The whole war arc concept compared to other mangaka who've done it as well. Yeah, even maybe the Naruto Fourth Ninja War arc. But yeah, there's like a real with this war arc, it's really kind of showing how you don't like these people are being put into so many dangerous situations that you pretty much fear for every single one of them, and you don't really know who's going to make it out alive, who's not. And I think that's I think that's kind of the beauty of this war arc compared to others, is that Horikoshi is kind of capturing the unpredictability of it. So, yeah. But, well, at the same time, maybe giving us a few hints here and there of who could actually die. But, yeah. But, yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.